Yo, what's up, everyone? This is your boy, Shrek with the fresh cut, coming back for week 10 of the Simp League Power Rankings. So yeah, you already know how it is. Let's get into it. It's you're gonna there we go. All right, at number 12, we got the Seattle Gyarados. So what happened here, man, is just Sylveon kind of beasted on him. Part of it was just that he lived on 2% at one point, which was very unfortunate considering I'm pretty sure the first hit did 43% and the second one did 40. And so if it had gotten the same roll as the first one, it would have killed, but Sylveon lived. Later, Lilligant tried to sleep powder it, but then it also missed. So Sylveon also he could have PP stalled it with Aegislash, but that would have been a whole other thing entirely. Overall, Sylveon was definitely the reason that the Seattle Gyarados weren't able to catch the dub. But on the positive side, it was a really good use of Ditto. Like this says, the copying Necrozma was definitely a good move. The Photon Geysers were definitely like very strong against Okan's team, so that was something huge. But yeah, it was a quick 3-0 loss. It's been tough to gain momentum. Essentially, the way that the league is structured right now, there's 4 teams that are doing pretty well, and then everyone else is kind of clumped together. So there's a lot of upward mobility, right? I mean, if you win one game next week, you're probably going to be like sixth or fifth or something. So not really too big of a deal being in 12th, especially for that kind of game. Also, if these rankings don't make any sense, I wasn't really part of the rankings last week, so it's like like if you lost a game and you like moved up somehow, like I wouldn't really be very surprised. I've had Shrek 5 is filming right now. I've had other stuff to do. At number 11, we got the Westchester Wooloos. This was kind of tough. I mean, he lost to a Scrafty, which that's tough. I think one move that you could have done differently was that when Scrafty was in against Toxtricity, or it was no, it wasn't Toxtricity, it was somebody else. But they're basically you could have it was Espeon in against Toxtricity. I probably would have gone for the Beartic sack there because the only two Pokemon that Matthew had left were both faster than Beartic, and I'm pretty sure killed it in one hit. So what I probably would have done is I probably would have sacked Beartic off there and then gone back into another Pokemon that could have killed. Because basically once Toxtricity died, the match was kind of over because Scrafty was faster and everything and can kill in one hit. But other than that, he played mostly pretty well. Politoed was a little interesting. I understand that it's mostly there to set up rain so that Beartic can move faster. But overall, in the early game, played pretty well. And Primarina is very scary. It's much scarier than a lot of people give it credit for. Because it can tank a few hits, and there are not many things that are going to tank a Specs hit of any kind from Primarina. So that's definitely something to watch out for when going up against Westchester. And it's also another one of those games where Westchester plays a pretty unique style. They basically are just going to attack you every turn, and they're going to try to read it every turn that you have. So essentially, every game is almost a 50-50. They can win any game, they can lose any game. So losing a game to a team that maybe didn't have as many wins like Matthew is not necessarily surprising. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the other way, if Westchester beats one of the teams that hasn't lost in a while. So it's overall pretty much a complete wild card of a team going into next week. And whoever's playing Westchester, even though they may be a lower seed, does not mean that there's any reason to be less worried. You should still be very worried. Number 10, we got the Charleston Charizards. I forgot to mention here's the little guy back here. You know how it is. You know how we do it. But uh, yeah, so this game was definitely one of the more interesting games. I do question whether they saw that it was a Scarf Gardevoir, um, because in the end, if you knew that that was a Scarf Gardevoir, it would have made more sense to go into Salazzle there just to, maybe eat a hit. But it overall it was tough considering the general lack of Gardevoir answers on his team. And again, that is mostly just because the team is so offensively oriented. But I mean, because I've had hyper offense teams like this before, and a lot of the time the problem with this kind of team is that anything with a choice scarf will generally beat it because what you want to do against offense like this is you want to have a Pokemon that's either scarfed or extremely fast that can kind of mow down the offense, right? Because their offensive mons may not have as much defensive utility. So if you can find something that's faster than all their mons, it will generally take care of a lot of their team. And I think that Windsor clearly saw that in their prep, considering A, she has Zeraora to start with, and B, she brought Scarf Gardevoir. Now, I do think there were also some mistakes during this game, such as that one that may have cost Spencer the win. But overall, I wouldn't be too worried. This team has been another one of those kind of like weird teams over the course of the year where they've had some really quality wins and they've had some interesting losses to go along with them. But in the end, like I said, they're definitely not necessarily the difference between 10th and 5th is not all that big, right? Again, if Spencer wins next week, then I'm sure that he'll be in the top 6, if not top 5. This is just one of those weeks where it was an off week. Everybody makes some mistakes while playing their games, but overall, it's more of a fault of the fact that his team is so offensively oriented in that anything that can outspeed most of his offensive mons is likely going to do a lot of damage against them. Oh, what the? Okay, moving on with I'm pretty sure this is his highest placement in this list from from a while. Hey, you know, you got to respect it. I mean, I mean, listen, I mean, Scrappy's the mascot of his team and he played like it. He was the best player on the team. He stepped up and was like, I'm not gonna let my team lose this game. And sometimes your number one players just got to step up like that. Um, Definitely interesting that there's no body press on Ferrothorn. Usually you would run that, especially considering the team he was playing against and how weak it was to it. I mean, he had ice type and a steel type, which was I mean, kind of interesting that he didn't bring that, but Matthews drafted this thing, Scrappy the thing every single year. I'm pretty sure that I've ever seen him play. So if there's any one thing that he knows how to use, it's definitely this thing. Um, I mean, and let's be honest, it was a pretty close win. I honestly didn't think he was going to win this game until it was over already, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna skip the replay because I was like, yeah, it's over at this point. But I mean, in the end, he pulled out the clutch win, with his best guy carrying him to the dub, and you got to respect that. I mean, it's the mascot, it's the franchise, straight out of Yugoslavia or wherever his team is from. And sometimes you just got to be like, I'm the best player here. I'm better than you. And then that, you made it happen. You made it happen. And then 8, so this was kind of tough. Bryce got absolutely dominated this week. There was like he didn't really have many options. It was this week was just tough in general. There's so much to go over. First of all, it's letting Hippowdon die. Like first, I think it was like second turn. That was kind of tough. I mean, it was pretty tough because he let it die basically for free, and a lot of the guys on Sam's team pretty much just killed a lot of the rest of his team like almost instantly. So it was kind of tough letting that die early, and the whole game was the whole game was just tough. The whole game was kind of something else. He didn't really build up any momentum against Sam's team. I've said this. I mean, I've said this plenty of weeks and past videos here, but like, there's just some games when Sam will get the lead and then he'll basically just absolutely refuse to give that up for the rest of the match, and it's kind of suffocating. Which is exactly it's exactly what happened here. I mean, from basically turn 1 when Hippowdon died, Bryce was at a severe disadvantage. I mean, it wasn't turn 1. That was very early in the game. When Hippowdon died, Bryce was at a severe disadvantage for the entire game, and Sam just didn't let him get out of that state, and that's generally why Sam won. And I think that's why Sam has such a good record this year, is because when he, gets the momentum or the advantage in the game, he almost never gives it up. And I think this was a great example of that. Um, I think one thing that Bryce maybe could work on was he definitely makes a lot of moves that are one step ahead of the game, right? And whether that be a huge risk or maybe it's the right move to make. Sometimes he does stuff that's very reliant on what his opponent does, and in weeks like this where he doesn't read right what his opponent does, he's going to get punished severely. Gengar at the end was also a great sweeper, and once a couple of his mods died, Gengar was pretty much ready for the sweep. All right, 6, we got Paul with the Cramorants. Yeah, he does still suck. He does still suck. It was Fire is also strong against Steel. That did happen a lot. But one thing I would think that maybe could have done differently, I liked the nasty plot on the melodic to Grass Knot. That was really well put together, but he really did not have too much for Corviknight. Corviknight kind of walled his entire team, and it was pretty sad to watch the last half of this game and just kind of watch his things just basically bash their heads against the steel wall. I mean, that's basically what was going on here. Let's not lie. And that's kind of more of a fault of not necessarily who he brought, but just who was on like the matchups in general, which is always tough to see that happen. But yeah, it was kind of a tough match. Drapion did well, but again, with Corviknight basically just invalidated it. I mean, as much that stinks to say, like there really wasn't anything they could do against Corviknight, and Corviknight was slower and could U-turn. So basically, Corviknight could just give Yellen the momentum every time. Scolipede also set up like it does every other week, although it didn't matter as much this week as it would have against Sam, but he also let that set up. But overall, this was really just the matchup thing. There was just nothing he could have done to Corviknight, even coming into the match. Once I saw the teams, I pretty much knew who was going to win this game, and Yellen made sure not to give up made sure not to give up his advantage by doing something stupid and killing off Corviknight or something like that. And so that kind of sealed Paul's fate from the very beginning with this one. Number 6 is the Hustle. I will admit this was a weird match because this was against me. Well, this was against Alex. I mean, I'm Shrek, but this was against Alex. Um, and yeah, it wasn't necessarily that he played poorly. It's just that there definitely is more he could have done in the situation that he was in. The one move I'd say probably would have won the game was not sacking off Draco's ult. That thing basically killed my entire team if he set a sub up. If he had just switched it out and just let something else die, it could have just came back in and killed another member of my team. And eventually, he could have just been doing that until he won. So when he let that thing die, I was pretty sure that I was going to win. Draco's ult was pretty much the only thing that he had for a lot of my team. I shouldn't have let Seismitoad die that early because it could have just kept going at that point. But regardless, the subset was a great set to bring on that. Phalanx was a little confounding. I'm not sure what the set was on it even, but I probably would have either brought Sash or a setup move on that just because I mean, when you bring Phalanx, you pretty much know it's not going to live a hit from anything in the sun, whether it be like Volcarona or Venusaur or anything else on my team. So at that point, you would probably want to bring a Sash or a setup move. But outside of that, I don't think he played necessarily poorly. It was also just a bad matchup because I have a Sun team and he has like 4 grass mons, I'm pretty sure, and like 2 steel mons. So in the end, I didn't really penalize him that much for this game. I came in this week pretty much just assuming that I'd win as long as I could take out Tricozolt. And once that happened, I was chilling. All right, 5. We got the Kelios. So yeah, I'm not really sure if this one counts honestly, because Paul just sucks so bad. Like he's so bad. Like I don't have I played him yet? I don't even know if I've played him yet. But either way, even if I haven't played him, man, he's terrible. He's garbage. He's trash. He's what's he's just below a human. Is really what I'd say about him. God. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say in this one before. Great job with Corbinite. Couldn't really do anything to it. So yeah, that was a good win. That was a good win. All right. Uh, 4, we got the Wigglytuff. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch that much of this game, but like I was saying before, like her team's just faster than Spencer's, and it was just good to have it. It was good to bring a scarf on something because it was just really good to see something be faster than his team, be able to break through the very minimal bulk that his team possessed. Also, Tentacruel is very slept on. Definitely, it can definitely eat a lot more hits than a lot of people think it can, even on the physical side. And it's great to just be able to be there to be annoying, whether it wants to set up spikes and recover, or whether it wants to eat hits from some of the offensive mons on Spencer's team. That's another thing about having a non-balanced team that's more offensive is that when you have a defensive mon that can deal with a lot of them, obviously it's going to slow them down a lot because their entire point is saying, well, you don't really have a switch in for this, so we're going to mow you over. When you do have a switch in to counter that, it kind of ruins their entire game plan, and I think Tentacruel did a good job of doing that, along with Gardevoir being faster. Um, oh shit. Okay, so 3 we got Ocon, the Cavaliers. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would say this is a good win, but this was more not luck, but Sylveon being very good in this match did have a lot to do with just some min rolls here, a missed sleep powder there near the end of the game. Granted, that was near the end of the game, but Ocon played very well around Aegislash, especially. Just it was a good bet that it was special too. If it was physical, it would have been an entirely different game. But having mystical fire for making sure that Aegislash can't break through its sub was huge. And honestly, it was huge in general, just bringing substitute. I've never seen that on a Sylveon before, so being able to mystical fire something, being faster than it, lowering special attack, and then making sure that its sub is still up was a really smart move. Um, what else? So yeah, the way he played against Ditto was definitely tough, considering he let it kill a couple of his mons. Necrozma though was a very good bring. I think a lot of people forget how bulky Necrozma is because of how its ability works with minimalizing special effective moves. So, which is why it lived. Or I don't know if it would have lived anyway, but either way, it's why it lived as much as it did against the super effective move that was used against it. But it also was able just to perform really well as kind of a pivot mon in general. I really like that he brought it across and is using it. A lot of people have kind of just forgotten about it since it came out last year, but I think it's definitely one of the more slept on ones in the game. And yeah, that was pretty much it for this game. Again, a lot of it was just a stall fest at the beginning of it with Sylveon and H/Slash going up against each other, but Ocon's definitely rebounded from a slower start. I think he started off the year either 0-2 or he started off the year somewhere around there, and he's definitely come back to be 6-3 since then. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do with a bye, considering his team is very kind of well rounded. Now, speaking of a team that isn't, we have me at number 2. Uh, I just got really lucky this week, man. I mean, I had 7 available Pokemon, and like it's the Sun team that I've never won with, and I happen to be going up against the guy that has like 4 grass Pokemon and 2 steel ones. So, yeah, Scizor does get Morning Sun, which is like actually pretty cool. I mean, the only thing is that you really probably shouldn't use Scizor and Sun, considering like no shit, you probably shouldn't be doing that. But didn't really have a choice this week, so I brought Morning Sun with it, and that's pretty good for recovery as long as they don't have fire typing, which they probably should. But I mean, I've had Venusaur on my team this entire time, and I'm really just kind of like, this is like the first week it's kind of like done what it's supposed to do. I brought it like other weeks, it's like a weird, like kind of bulky thing, but this is actually the first week that I brought it for what it's supposed to be used for, and it actually worked. I brought it against Yewin, but I don't even remember what happened that game. I'm pretty sure I lost handily. So it was good to see Venusaur actually put in some work. Um, who will stop this man? I mean, Yewin already did. I think he like swept me too. So I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know what Okan was saying. I also didn't make these. Okan made these, just so you know. So yeah, somebody already stopped me. But overall, it was a pretty good win. There was just nobody to stop Venusaur. So I mean, that was pretty much sealed from the start. And at one, we got yeah. I mean, Sam kind of dominated this week too. I mean, he really was never in any danger of losing, which that's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I mean, he's the last. I don't really remember the last time he was in danger of losing a game. Sam is definitely going to take a lot to stop. Sam's won this league more than anyone else. Oh, not this league, I guess. This is technically season one, but like, when we played in the past, Sam usually wins. So we just gotta stop Sam at all costs. Is basically what I'm saying. This is a call out. Whoever's playing Sam in the playoffs, I will aid you. Actually, I don't even know if that's a good idea because I don't really beat Sam that often either. We gotta team up to stop Sam. If anyone has any ideas, I'd love to hear it. If anyone has like a recommendation for me, you know, all recommendations are gladly accepted here. So yeah, just hit my line, 1-800 Shrek Swamp at gmail.org. And yeah, MVP, you got two door. He's I like uh, so yeah, we got we got wait, what wait, what God damn it. Uh yeah, we got two door. Have a good one.